is weird because my camera is this way, but my computer is here. We got you. All right, welcome back to High Consciousness Podcast. This is your host, Poppy Lynn. Like I said, I need to be looking at the camera. What up?
What's good? Welcome back to another one, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Another one. Yeah, put DJ Khaled right there. Another one. I did good with the memes the last time, so the memes are gonna stay up. I also zoomed in on you at the end because you were dancing.
Oh, okay.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
Sometimes you just feel it.
Yeah, let it do its thing. All right. So we're gonna recap episode 12. Recap of episode 12 in case you were not here last episode, which I hope you were, and if you weren't, you have 12 episodes to catch up with. Have fun. You don't need to watch them all at the same time, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, recap of episode 12. So episode 12, we spoke about food dyes, intermittent fasting. T took us down the rabbit hole of what these things actually do and their side effects. But yeah, it was a good time, and our intention was mainly to bring that information and bring awareness to that type of information, so then you can have free will, as we stated, and choose wisely. T, any thoughts on last episode?
I mean, we didn't say anything new, guys. If you're interested in it, you kind of just do your own research. I think people have maybe a negative conception or a negative perception about, like, someone says, hey man, I found out this new thing, or like I have a different perspective about, let's say, any type of political issue. Oh, just do your own research. I can't really get into it. People just go like, whoa, why can't you just tell me? Well, yeah. Whoa, it's not that hard. Just you learn more by doing it yourself. I can
really do.
I can literally tell you, like, hey, you want to drive stick? First, you put your foot on the clutch and put it in gear. But what's that going to do unless you actually research how to do it?
Yeah, that's facts. That's a good analogy. That is such a good analogy because it's so true. And that's mainly why when we touch topics on those things, we give you what we give you, but it's also your job to go out there and continue to do research and dive deeper, because there's more than just the surface, right? And even us giving you an hour and a half is not even like half of what you can actually learn once you do it on your own, and you take a day, or on your downtime you decide to just go down that path for a second. And it's liberating. It brings peace, and it allows you to choose wisely. So
right, choose the better. The more you know, the better options you can choose from. If you don't know anything, then you can't get mad at the trash you have.
Yeah, you don't know any. Gotta know at least something. Damn, I just noticed something here.
At least something.
So yeah, but that was the recap of episode 12. Episode 12 was a good time. It was a good time, and I definitely recommend for you to take time out of your day and watch an hour and 10 minutes. It does not hurt. You could do it when you're cooking. You can do it when you're, I don't know, downtime, like you're driving, right? Doesn't matter. Maybe shopping, but you're by yourself. Or maybe you just on your commute back home. Just take the time and tune in and stay in tune. But with that being said, T, I'm gonna give it to you for the quote of the day. Oh, he was not ready.
I got you.
Okay. Welcome, guys. This is us. This is us. There's no filter here, you heard?
Not for the first couple minutes. YouTube guidelines. All right.
Facts.
Quote of the day. Halos can be drawn around people who are toxic just because they are famous or fancy. Don't fall for it. Whether a person is a prince or a pauper, pay attention to their words and their actions, and don't imbue them with virtue just because they are successful. And that's from
Oof.
Dr. Ramani.
Such a great quote. And this was something that she was actually saying. I just figured it would have been a great quote. But on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to fast out of toxic relationships. So we spoke upon fasting out of, food, bad foods, and uh we mainly spoke on food dyes and also then intermittent fasting and dived into that. We spoke about Dr. Sebi, and all of this ties together, and this is why we try to keep you in the loop of everything, because everything, again, as stated, it's like continuity, having continuity, right? Continuity. If you own Apple devices and Apple phones, whatever, um there's continuity. You go to your Mac and it's the same thing as, you know almost similar to your phone, and you can watch, like, if you start a show here, you can end it there, or you vice versa, right? Even right now, continuity, I can use my phone as my camera instead of using my actual devices, my Mac's camera, right? So I say that because that's the same with everything that we do in life, right? Continuity can come upon, well, currently right now what we're speaking upon is uh fasting, right? So fasting out of toxic foods, right? Then also getting into the spiritual aspect of it, fasting out of toxic relationships, right? And then also doing the physical aspect of it in terms of, you know stop being lazy and go work out, right? Or move your body and be active. So today's topic is going to mainly be on how to fast out of toxic relationships. First, I want to set the intention as to why we are having this conversation. It's just as important as it is to release yourself from toxic foods. It's also good to detox from toxic relationships. Now, this could be a parent, lover, friend, co-worker, family member, etc. The reason why we want to have these conversations and share our perspectives from our own experiences is mainly to bring awareness to our community and that we are building here at High Consciousness Podcast, and to help the viewer, the listener, be able to think about these things and dive deeper in your own downtime, as I stated in the beginning of the episode. The goal is to help that person who wants the help or needs to gain a different perspective find it, but also to help you recover and continue to heal from toxic relationships that keep people from even keep people from entering these type of relationships. Ooh. You are excused. um
Pardon
and
me.
keep right. Pardon I.
Mm.
It's alright. Cut it earlier because I did a really bad burp. That your burp was at least like decent.
I try to hide it.
Yeah, I know you're like, ooh,
Ooh.
pissed up. um, but yeah, so keep people from even entering these type of relationships as they tune in and hear us share information we've come across, share our own personal experiences. And if you are already in them, this is for you to not get sucked in too much deeper. These are real things. There's psychiatrists and psychological, um, what's the psychological
Psychologist and psychiatrist.
Yeah, it's like, what? I don't understand what happened there. I was like, oh, camera, oh, pressure, ah.
All good. Yeah.
But you see, this is what we have. This is why T is the right man here, But yeah, so you can research this on YouTube. I just put literally how to get out of toxic relationships, and there is a ton. Now, have discernment to who you listen to, right? But there's a ton. But I was listening to Dr. Ramani, and she was the inspiration as to our quote of the day. But let's get started. So first, let's uncover what we see in toxic relationships. There's a few things that we don't talk about in the wider spectrum, but like nowadays we're starting to see them more. Narcissistic people, right? Moving in too quickly, love bombing, gaslighting. But to say the least, All these things are seen in the beginning of a great relationship. And then later on we see, well, what happened? And that's because you get caught up in their charisma and charm, and they seem valuable, interested, and they are, because they get to make their own rules. But charisma is like heavy perfume or cologne that someone wears. So, like, let's say they smell bad, right? Let me just cover this. So it's like covering yourself, and this is an analogy that Dr. Ramani used, that really stood out to me. Again, typically they're definitely masking something. So just take the time, let them reveal themselves. That's why moving too quickly can be a portion of narcissistic matters to them, because they cannot give you the time to see all that, like all that the real dumb and what's underneath the surface. They can't have you see it right away. They gotta reel you in first, and then get it going. But this is just me starting off the conversation. T, you go ahead. You can. We're gonna start with narcissistic people. So any thoughts you have on that, or maybe perspective.
To a certain extent, we all are. No offense.
We're not
Uh,
gonna pretend you just didn't do that.
nah,
But
I didn't do that.
okay. Oh,
To a certain, because it's like, yo, man, everybody can see it. I don't know why we're just beating around the bush. Like, you don't want to hang around this person because, you know, okay. Example. You already know there's certain people that if you're around them, you just feel like you're being drained, or
yeah.
mentally you have to prepare yourself to even have a conversation with them, because somehow it's going to go from, like, let's say you want to talk about something that happened to you today, or you have an achievement, or you did something really awesome, you learned a new skill or a new combo today in boxing or something. You're like, hey, let me show you this, and then you come to this person, but the whole time they look like they're listening, they look like they're very attentive and they're active, but the minute that the second for them to squeeze in there, now it's about them. Now it has to be about
Mm-hmm.
them, what they're doing, what they've going through, or like what's really on their mind, and now the conversation just revolves around them. But that's not how it started. It's like, yo, can you take a second first and acknowledge what I said just now, or like
Yeah.
anything? And I know there's a certain degree that we all share that, and it's just once you recognize those patterns, you can definitely absolve yourself of the, I hate using this word, like the toxic people around you. And I say I hate it because it's so broad nowadays.
Yeah, it's fair.
Everything is just
Because that
very,
word is used very loosely.
very loosely, like kind of like love and hate. It's so broad.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you hate something, you have the capacity to love it, because it's the same side.
Right.
It's literally the same thing. But we can go on and on about toxicity and what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it smells like. I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, but at the end of the day, it's just to protect oneself, one's ego. You have to care about yourself. But the moment you start to do that too much, it becomes overbearing. And it's like, yo,
Yeah.
bro, I'm not trying to do that with you. I don't want to spend time with you. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to do activities with you. Look at that.
I wanted to pull up the narcissistic definition. For the listeners, we'll read it to you. And for the viewers, you can see it. But we're still gonna read it. So narcissism is a characterized by extreme self-involvement, disregard for others' needs, and a lack of empathy and consideration for others. So let's just start with the basics, right? Like, we all, to a certain extent, have a narcissistic trait, right? The goal in life is to not be so extreme self-involved and disregard the needs of others, and have lack of empathy and consideration for others. And you know Dr. Ramani stated, Ramani, I don't know why I keep like English is so hard for me, you know. Romani, she has stated along the lines of just because someone has intelligence and you know they may come off smart, that does not mean that their education created them to be kind, right?
Right.
And that is a very huge point because there's people that are out there that are smart, intelligent, rich, right, successful, as to what we call external power, right? Like being successful, having the things and having the house and having all this wealth, right? And they are still mean people. They're not kind, they're not considerate of others, and somehow they still navigate because of that, because they max that. They can mask through different things like their riches, they can mask through their charisma, they can mask through their charm. So I want to share definitions through this episode because definitions are very important, and we just tend to throw these words around like they're nothing when they actually have meaning. And we sit here in a room and then we start joking about it, or we start using it, oh, like you're toxic, or this is that, but do you even know what you're saying, right? Like
Nope.
now now you're just programmed to talk like the generation that's coming up, and you're not being the example to nobody. You're just going along, right? And you know, back to topic in terms of narcissistic people.
Real quick before you leave. You see down there where it says fact sheet, name after narcissist? Right there on the right, on the right, on the right, on the right, on the right.
Oh yeah, fact sheet, yeah.
Look up
Named
that
after.
person.
Oh yes, yes. See, look at you. See.
I know where it's from, but I don't think people do.
So, Greek mythology. We spoke about Greek mythology in the first
Paganism.
episode. Yes, in the first episode, we spoke about Greek mythology, and we didn't dive crazy in. We should definitely come back around to this one.
We
This is a
can.
good one.
I just wanted to point that out, that a lot of these traits, personality traits, or gods, goddesses, they all reflect human nature. One. Two,
Right.
people don't even realize that you're embodying something that it's not your religion. It
Right.
literally isn't your religion, or even from your culture or your background, but you're just like, it's fine, I don't need to know the story of Narcissus. I don't need to know the story of the man who loved himself so much he said into the lake and then he fell in and drowned. It's cool. I don't need to know any of that. I don't like you. You think too highly of yourself. You're a narcissist. That's it. Simple.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No one looks deep into anything. I don't think a lot of people care too much for it. It's kind of sad, really.
Yeah, and it's also a personality style, so you'll see it a lot. These things have been happening prior before even our time. So we adapt to these things, and if we don't look back at where these things come from, we will never figure out the origin or the why as to why is it happening this way, or even just questioning why do I have it?
Yep.
Even for me, I had to I also want to say it's not bad to be narcissistic, right? Like it's not bad to have everybody's narcissistic to a certain extent, but it's to that extent. What is the extent now that you're taking it to? And that's why I say that it's very important to think about it in the sense of, how can I be considerate for others? Even me, sometimes in conversations, I would just talk about myself. And then as I stopped that and just actually gave the opportunity for the other person to talk about how they felt, just understanding timing, and understanding that, okay, maybe that right now is not the time, right? And even also educating others to think, okay, maybe right now is not the time for her, right? But it's just knowing that balance, and also just being considerate of others. Like I grew up that way. I grew up very much, hey, let's share. Hey, it's not just you. Hey, there's other people involved, right? And as a kid, sometimes that's hard to take in because you're like, well, what about me, right? Like every kid wants to be the main character. It's just what it is. But it's just having, again, that discernment to know when it's toxic and when it's not toxic. Because you shouldn't down somebody for thinking good about themselves. Like,
Right.
you know, maybe that person took the time to be that person, right?
Right.
Maybe they weren't that person before. So we can't also bash people for thinking good about themselves, because that's also good. But it's again, like, you have to have balance with everything. Everything's a yin and the yang, you know, the good and the bad.
The id, the ego, and the super ego.
Oh, that's a great way to put it, because those literally are the main things that we have to, you know, really check ourselves and also dig deeper about ourselves. But yeah, so narcissistic people. And even here it tells you, like, rejected all advances, eventually falling in love with a reflection in a pool of water, tragically not realizing its similarity and entranced by it. In some versions, he beat his breast purple in agony at being kept apart from this reflection, love, and his place spouted a flower bearing his name. The character of narcissism, a self-centered personality style. This quality is extreme contributions to the definition of narcissistic personality disorder. And she's actually talks about those things. Like, she has a whole entire, like, she's been in a lot of different podcasts. She's also been on TED Talks. You know, if you watch Jada, she's been on Red Table Talk, speaking up on narcissistic there. And she's from New Jersey, fun fact. So, Englewood, New Jersey. But yeah, Dr. Ramani is definitely someone that I would, if I were you and you're interested into knowing what those traits are and what that looks like, explore her, because she even helped me realize, and this is not just something that we see in relationships romantically, it's also platonic relationships that we witness this, friendships, right? Even just maybe your own mother, right? Like, and then those traits pass on to you. So this is not just a linear thing. It's a wide spectrum of how it can show up with different people in your life. But again, it's she even stated it herself, is having discernment to be able to say, okay, this is not for me, and this is where this is coming from. Like the love bombing, the moving too quickly, gaslighting. Oh God, gaslighting. Let's talk about gaslighting, because gaslighting has been the word of like last year. And it's funny, and I think also 2022, either last year or 2022, but I was watching it last year and they were talking about how that was the word of the year because everybody was just using it, and it became more of a known thing. But the actual definition of gaslighting, let me share this tab.
Okay, pull it up.
So gaslighting is, can you see it? Is it there? Because I'm actually on the page. Okay. Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse that involves manipulating someone into questioning their own perception of reality. Okay, let's just take that in one more time. Gaslighting, it is a form of psychological abuse that involves manipulating someone into questioning their own perception of reality. All right, so it is a covert form of emotional abuse that often occurs in abusive relationships. The victim of gaslighting may feel unsure about their perception of the world and even wonder if they are losing their sanity. Gaslighting can cause confusion, anxiety, or a lack of trust in oneself.
Look it up, though, the definition. This is what we do, guys. We do it live.
Yes.
All right, we're going to learn words and educate ourselves together.
Right. This is a safe space, you heard?
Ignore the lism part. It's colloquial.
Colloquial, and then
lism.
Colloquialism.
There you go.
And then hold on, I was trying to look up.
The what's it called?
It's a linguistic style used for casual communication.
The phonetic is on the right. On the right, or it says it next to the word.
Oh, right here, yeah. Colloquial, yeah.
There you go.
Colloquialism. Also called colloquial language, everyday language, or general. Okay. Word. Colloquialism. Alright, we see? Boom bop. Learn something new every day. Fuck, where was I?
Previous page. Yep.
Back to gaslighting. Gaslighting can cause confusion, anxiety, or a lack of trust in oneself. It is a colloquialism that originated from the 1944 film Gaslight and became popular in the mid 2010s. Can see why. 2010 was a rough year. So
shit.
But yes, you're questioning someone's reality. So if someone tells you that that's not it, you know, and you're bugging and that's not what they meant, and they're not acknowledging what just happened, take that into consideration. Okay? Take that into consideration.
Shit, gaslight me into heliocentrism.
Yeah. I mean, seems like that's when it became a thing, so.
Can't say that, though. All of a sudden, we're not intelligent.
Yeah.
Which is also gaslighting.
Yep. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's utilized in so many different aspects that I find it funny sometimes when I'm in a room and they use it just in a joking matter or like playing around that in a way that it doesn't even make sense. But nowadays, if you just take a second to go search this up and then you go into a room and you hear people talk, you'll know who's really talking about, who really knows what they're talking about and who doesn't.
Yep.
And then that's when you have discernment. And the reason why, again, this is all being mentioned is for people that are in those toxic relationships and don't know what these things mean or see signs but don't explore it enough, because when you're dealing with someone that's narcissistic and has gaslighting in them and love bombing and moves too quickly, it's hard for you to think to yourself or take a second to think to yourself, wow, is this really it? Is this what's happening? Am I worth enough? Like it's all really devaluing you and making you small so then they can be bigger. So just but this is what we mean by getting out of toxic relationships.
I'm really glad you said once you have the knowledge, you gain discernment, and that's all discernment is just gaining wisdom to basically see the bullshit, see the fuckery. Like, people can talk out of their ass all they want, as long as someone has the confidence to act like they know what they're talking about, they're gonna more than likely believe them. Which is why the best salespeople are just people who are very confident about themselves. You don't have to know anything. You just
You just come off with confidence,
some talking points, and all of a sudden it's like, damn, this dude, he knows exactly what he's
doing.
I trust you. Yes, I will buy that 2023 Hellcat
OLED TV.
Or OLED TV, anything. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Yes, I will buy those EV cars. Yes, I will.
They'll get you. They'll definitely they get you. But that's the thing, they can do all those things, but watch when they don't get their way, or see how they react and not respond, because responding, you take your time, right? Reacting is the first thing that comes to you, right? So not even having emotional intelligence or emotional maturity, because they didn't get their way. Pay attention to those things, because what's far more important is kindness, having compassion, having patience, seeking to understand, I can't have it my way right now. Where is this coming from me? Why do I feel so angry? And how do I explore that for me? And then also, how do I let my partner or my friend or whoever explore that for themselves, right? Like, it's really just about having that compassion, that patience, and kindness. And you may think a lot of people have that until things go really bad, and they don't. That's why I say love is patient, love is kind, because I was in the spectrum of one time just being that jerk and not taking people into consideration and thinking it was all about me, because there is a lot of things that I personally didn't deal with, which again, it goes back to now not unbinding trauma, right? And there's a lot of things that were stemming inside of me that were a lot, like, were just bringing out the toxic of me, the negative aspect of me. And it wasn't until I then uncovered those things and and healed them to a certain extent, because we're constantly always going to be healing. um but I healed those things, and then I was like, oh, okay, now I can move forward and be considerate of others, right? And take the time to pause and be like, oh, okay, what's happening here? How do I not act this way? Which should be the goal for all of us. Like, I'm not sitting here saying I'm the perfect human being. T's not sitting here saying he's the perfect human being, but it's
Nope.
about really taking those steps to become a better human being, and for the better of your own experience and the better experience of others around you. Because now I feel like nowadays we're so quick to talk about people pleasing and think that that's okay. Like, it's not. When you don't people please, when you have your boundaries, when you set your standards, and this is how you operate, you won't just fall for anything, and it'll be a lonelier road, because at the end of the day, there's very rare people that do that in reality. So, you know, not unbinding trauma is another topic that I wanted to briefly touch on, because I have like 2 episodes talking about trauma, but it's just part of toxic relationships. Any
The
perspective,
trauma
T?
part.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, people also tend to bond over trauma,
Mm-hmm. I've
and
had
that
that
could be,
happen.
yeah, I was about to say that could be a pit that you don't want to put yourself into either.
No, that's a scary pit.
Hmm.
That's a scary pit, because someone has to be the balance. It is what it is. Um, and things like that. I've been in a situation where we bonded off of trauma, and I was the first person this individual told their trauma to, and it was a romantic relationship, and it was bad. It was bad because then me myself, I saw where everything stemmed from, and I'm like, whoa, you shouldn't even be doing this right now. To that extent, like, I saw it for them. I'm like, you shouldn't even be with me right now if this is how deep it is. And when you
Right.
have that much guts to say that, whew, it hurts. Not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's not. But once you figure it out, you get it off your chest. It's not weighing you down anymore. You
Yeah.
went through it with your family. I going through it right now. Went through it. It is what it is. You also start to move differently,
Yeah.
completely differently.
Yeah. That's why it's important to do that before you try to take care of someone else with you and take care of you. I don't think it's impossible. It's just more of double the work. And I
Yeah.
don't think everybody has the capacity to do that. Some people do. I've seen it happen, but not everybody has the capacity to do that.
In order for someone to have the capacity, they need to have the room for that. Have to make the space for that.
I get you.
It's like let's say you have two people and you're both at like half, half, half full, half glass, whatever. You can have one person that's trying to fill themselves up first, and then when they start to overflow, then they're like, all right, cool, now I can like share some of myself with you. But if the other person doesn't necessarily want the help, then you're kind of just wasting yourself. You're overflowing for no reason,
Yeah.
you know. But in
Yeah.
the same breath, if the other person wants to help, then you scoot the cups a little close together, and then you pour into each other.
Right. That was like the podcast I was listening to yesterday, and this is for another episode, because this is more of talking about going through obstacles within a romantic or any type of relationship, and giving the person the space to be themselves, and you not push your life or your way of being onto them, but just letting them be themselves, and you helping them and guiding them through that. And you know, the reason why I bring that up is because it's so important when you are in a relationship and you don't want it to be toxic, and you want to overcome all those things. For just as much as you got to give yourself grace, you got to give the other person grace. And I feel as though in our generation, and in the world that we are currently in, there's no space for that at times, from especially from people that are like super toxic. But there's just no space for it, because again, like, how can we find the space when you're constantly pointing fingers at me and I'm constantly pointing fingers at you? And I think that in itself is an important portion of it, because of the fact that you really do need to, yeah, maybe if you guys are 50-50, that's how can we build and get to 100, and like truly do that. Because also feedback is a thing. We should be able to, I should be able to tell you about yourself, and you should be able to tell me about myself, and how is it impacting us. Or even just let's search and see how can we help each other. Like, right, like I've seen, just real quick, like I've seen T&D sit there and like listen to divorce court, and like look at those perspectives and be like, oh, okay, well, that's not what I want to do, or that's not how I want to make you feel, right? So like looking at the resources that can help the relationship, but also understanding that, are you with someone? Ask the question, are you with someone that's going to truly change? Are you with someone that wants to do the work? Because I've also been in relationships where I've fallen for potential, and don't we all? Don't we all? But then you fall for potential, and then what keeps you there is the potential, and not the fact that you don't want to accept that this person is not it. And that's how
like I said, you try to make it work. You try to make it work, but unless they want to have it work, then you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're a year later talking about, oh man, what am I gonna do? This person doesn't love me. I like the way they're supposed to love me. Oh.
Yeah.
But I should have been honest from the jump. Oh Lord.
Yes, that part. And that's the part that I was talking about from the beginning, the masking part. You have to get to know people. That's where discernment comes in, because when you take your time and you get to know people, you then see them for who they are, and then you can say, okay, is this okay, am I willing to do this? Nah, those are not, I don't want to compromise myself for that. And often, even me, I've been in spaces where I've compromised myself just to keep something, when in reality I should have not, because it wasn't for me. I shouldn't have to compromise myself that much. I think compromising is there's certain things that you can have in your list to compromise, but if there isn't, then that's fine too. Like, and then that's how you take them out faster. Like, oh, gotta go. But I just, I feel as though, real quick, like this happens a lot in lesbian relationships. Like U-Haul, it's a thing, right? And I can say I'm guilty of, oh, I like you, blah blah blah, but it's never always been me I'm like the dude in it, because then I'm the one that's like, nah, I don't want to rush it, and then you do the 1 2 3 with them, and then they're like, nah, like I need to be your girl like right now, and it's like, what just happened? Like, can we get to know each other for a second? And
I say 1 2 3. What you talking about? 1 2 3? You know about? How you talking about over there?
The activities.
Oh man.
The
Oh man.
The fact that I said The activities, dog. But that's like men
I
go through
guess I
that
know.
too, right?
I,
Yeah, you
I'm
know.
I guess I know.
And this these
I'm a
stress.
lesbian in my free time.
Nah, that's not what
I get it.
that's not what I was
I get
trying to say. Yo, but you know what I mean. And and if you don't know what I mean, what I really mean is dudes go through that too because women are quick sometimes. They're just quick. And it's like, and then women get mad at men for being quick, and then they're like, you don't love me, this, that, and the third. And it's like, yo, you didn't even get to know the dude. You just, boop, you opened your legs. LOVE. And yeah, se acabó. It's done. So.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
because we're completely different on a general basis. We're just different. Like,
Yeah. Seriously.
love for men is simply put a most spit game for any chick out there. I'm sure I said this before, but it's like, man, we're super simple. You can give somebody a compliment. You can like do something for the dude, whether it's get him food, make him food, lunch, or take him out somewhere. Just make sure you're thinking about him, because it's not often that it happens that way. Usually it's supposed to be the other way around. Like we're planning dates, we're chasing you guys, we're making the first move, etc., etc. And I'm saying if because society is going to tell you guys, women, one thing, like, you need to sit back and wait, and then he's going to find you. And I don't think that's true.
No.
Like, especially successful relationships, it's going to obviously be both members are going to be interested. However, I truly believe that once like a woman comes up to you and shows interest in that type of way, you're already standing out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And immediately it's like, oh wow, I never had someone do that for me before. Or like, wow, she really noticed that I put in effort. You know, I do take care of myself to look nice for you. Or like, yeah, you know what? I do have a nice smile. I did wear my braces for half a decade for you. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do this for me. Thank you so much. Wow. You know what? I appreciate you saying that for me. I did hold the door for you because I am a gentleman. Thank you so much. Wow. Good stuff.
Yes, my gentlemen need to take their flowers, and
we definitely need their flowers.
They need their flowers as well, ladies.
We don't mind giving you guys their flowers, but it's like, yo, you deserve it or what? You think you deserve it or you earn it? Like,
right.
I think you need to earn it. You need to be
both sides
in that position, and then most guys have no problem doing stuff for you. It's more like it has to be reciprocated, you know? And I think that's a lot of the issues that's going on, especially modern day. People are taking advice from
post.
What's the post memes, and the best I could describe it is like, I want to look at someone that has something that I would want, and then I go, okay, how did they get there? What did they do? Oh, you know, XYZ. And then I'll listen to you. Sure. Damn, you've been married for like 20 plus years. What do you do? Or how does it go for you guys? Oh, that's okay. That's I can see that, how that works. All right, that makes sense. Or I should listen to someone who's been chronically single for 12 plus years, talking about, you know, he'll find you, sis. Sit back, wait, don't worry about him. Sprinkle. Like, it doesn't work that way, guys. It really doesn't work that way. But you keep doing you. Maybe your results are going to be different. I like math. I like 2 + 2 = 4. Some people like 1 + 3. You know what I'm saying? Some people like 0 + 4. I like 2 + 2. Simple. It works every single time. But hey, I guess I guess I'm just different. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you also you're like we're like that 1%, you know? Um and that's why it's so important to really understand what you want and want to attract. Because let's say
Sure.
you want to attract something good, right? Like, or maybe I don't know, you like a certain type, right? Or and maybe that type can be in the along the lines of, I need them to be kind, have compassion, be a gentleman, right? Wait for those things. It's okay to wait for those things, in a matter of you're still putting yourself out there, but you're not just giving yourself to every single thing that comes out there. I think for
Yeah.
me, I used to be like that. I used to be very much, I cannot miss an opportunity. This is my opportunity and I need to take it now. And then I would take it, I would go in it like face, like, face forward, and then boom, like slip on my face, and then be like, I caused my own, I would blame other, you caused the heartbreak. No, I caused my own heartbreak because I didn't take the time to understand what I wanted. And
Hmm.
if you just blindly go out there like that, you're gonna encounter whew, a lot of different experiences. Some that you may want and are may not be ready. Some that you may not want at all. Um, so that's why it's so important to really just be open, but you don't got to give it all, you know. And I feel as though sometimes, you know, some women don't allow men to work for it, in a sense of, and even vice versa, right? But in a sense of, like you stated, these things are earned, right? Like, okay, actions speak louder than words. I can have somebody here talking my ear up, this and that, or even just giving me the nicest things,
Hmm.
but like, what are your words and your actions? Like, are they matching? Like, what are they saying right now? And you'll figure it out. We all have an intuition. We just gotta breathe and listen to it. Especially if
Hmm.
you want better for yourself, because not everybody wants better for themselves, and that's okay too. You stay in that lane, boo. I'm talking to the people that want better for themselves. We're talking to the people that want better for themselves and that feel it, that know it, but they don't know how to start, or what to do, or how to go about it. Like, I've been in a lot of scenarios where I've been the one to break hearts and also had my heart broken. And I say break hearts because I would have to walk away from things, whether that was a family member, whether that was an old friend, or like friends that I had for years, right? Whether that was a romantic relationship I just really wanted to keep, or whether that was a coworker that I needed to stay away from. It comes in very various different ways. Any
I
last
agree.
thoughts?
I was gonna say, no, I 100% agree, especially when it comes to not jumping on like
Mm.
the first, like either the first option, or you know
You
what, you're
know.
just yeah, the whole thing. Just because someone's there giving you attention doesn't mean like it's necessarily
There, it
good intentions, great intentions
right.
for you.
Yes, understand the intentions.
And I was gonna say, I've also been in a situation where like I had to really look at myself and figure out like, is this what I would want to do? Because I've all right. I don't want to stroke my own ego, but I've been the one. I've broken some hearts too, and I had to really sit back, and to this day, I still talk about it. It's like I don't like the feeling of, I wouldn't say pulling somebody along, but it ended up feeling like that, even though I told her, or these people in general, like, hey, like this is what it is. This is what we're doing. I don't want anything more. You know what I'm saying? We can kick it. We can be cool, whatever. Whatever happens, happens. But the minute you start pushing, talking about like, yeah, I can't wait for you to meet my dad. I'm like, bruh, that's not what I asked for. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I had to hit you with the, it's not you, it's me. Like, it's really
Mm,
not what I'm looking for. But you need to understand that I'm saying these things and my actions are also saying these things. But then when you start doing the 1, 2, 3, then
It
you
all gets mixed.
get mixed, and then it doesn't change for mostly. It doesn't change for men. It doesn't change for us. It's like, look, it is what it is. This is what we wanted since day one. But unfortunately, we have to go through the steps to get what we want. I'm not saying we're lying. I am saying that we operate differently than you guys. However,
Yeah. Some do lie. Some men do lie.
Some definitely do.
But
Of
not
course,
all.
I'm not gonna say all. It is never an all with any of this stuff. It's really just
Yeah, right. No, that's facts.
some definitely do and some don't. I can't now. There's certain things I can say majority do. Like majority won't tell you the truth to your face. Like, hey, this is what it is.
Right.
I don't want anything else. It's cool if this is what you want to do, but I'm just gonna be honest straight up front. Like, I can take you out. We can have a good time. We can kick it, but I'm not looking for a relationship. And then I could say I think most women in general would just shoot that down, because you can't just go up and be like, yo, like, you're a baddie, I'm trying to fuck. Like, that doesn't work. It really doesn't work.
As much as they swear.
As much as they swear, bro, it does not work.
That does not work.
So it's one of those things like, okay, well, the thing that does work involves the games and stringing and the whole process. And that's tiring. Like, as someone who I have emotional intelligence. I have some emotional prowess, all right? But I'm not gonna go out here and do that consistently over and over and over. Like, it's draining for me. I'm not gonna do that. So I rather not. Now, there's other men out there who that's what they do. They love playing the game. They love it. But in the long run, that definitely takes a toll on them, bro. Like, I've seen these 40-year-old men, 50-year-old men still out here in the streets. I've seen them. Seriously. It's not just women. It's just, and I don't want to be like that. So I chose a different path. Same. And a lot of people can choose different things, especially in your younger years. Like, all you have to do is look at the elders, not necessarily in your families, but now we have the internet. Look at the elders, look at the older people, look at the choices that they made. Do you really want their results? You have to think about these things. I don't want that. So I'm moving differently. And I always advise people that say, like, yo, man, like, it look like you found a nice one and you seem like you have a good head and shoulders, or, you know, you're a good dude. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like, I took the time out to look within myself, to really figure out, like, what I want, who I am, where do I want to be, is this what I want to do, who do I want around me, is blood really thicker than water? Like, I think about concepts and stuff like that because I think those are traps. I think those are traps to keep people in a certain environment that ends up not being good for you in the long run. Like, bro, I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're like cousin, uncle, brother. If you disrespect me in a certain way that you can't even be man enough to like, you know what, man? First of all, I want to say that I apologize. Like, I was in my emotions when I came to you in such a way, and we could have squashed this thing years ago. But as a man who can't tell another man what to do, who am I to tell you that, hey, man, you're wrong? You know, I'm just gonna keep moving. We're gonna make our own decisions, and we're gonna keep it pushing. And I'm satisfied. I'm content with my decisions in my life. I can't judge you, even though I definitely do. But I'm going to say that I can't judge you. But I don't want anything to do with your life in that sense. And it's just...
Right.
Look, the last thing, lack of communication. Look at that. It really is just a lack of communication. It really is. And it's so simple when you think about it. Like, the ease and the quickness that you looked up the definition of the words that you couldn't even pronounce, but you figured out what the definitions were, you figured out how to pronounce it, you figured out how to use it in a sentence, and now you understand the context of it.
Right.
That took a couple seconds. It wasn't even
Literally.
like an hour or 2 hours of your day. It was a couple moments. So, but now that you have that knowledge and it's within you, you can you take that and you build your character, and now it transfers along with you. Now you won't fall to gaslighting. Now you won't succumb to the traps. Now you won't be a victim to more of these toxic people and the succubus around you that just want to just drain you dry. Once you know how these people move, you cut that shit out of your life, bro. Like, men and women, you cut it out of your life. Now, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy, but a lot of things in life that's worthwhile is not easy. It's very difficult. It takes time, but at the end of the tunnel, it's so much better. Yeah, got anything.
We out of here. We is out of here. Yo, colloquialism. Can't forget it.
Special tribute for those who stay to the end.
Yo, seriously, shout outs to you. You are the one. You are the chosen one. Shout outs to the ones who listen through and really take this information seriously. And hey, we gonna get loud with the music. Hey.
Gotcha.
But that really take the time to listen in and tune in and come every time we drop an episode. And you know, whether it's 5 of you, whether there's 2 of you, whether there's 1 of you, I don't care. The message came across and you took it and you ran with it. That's all that matters to me. Whether I impact 1 heart, 2 hearts, 3 hearts, 4 hearts, it doesn't matter as long as I impacted 1 heart. And I'm pretty sure T feels the same.
I do.
So thank you for coming through. Your host, Poppy Lynn, is out of here. And go ahead, Mr. T.
Come on, you already know me. I got nothing else to say. Just Mr. T.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya. Till next time.